Greetings, my friends. Mkwann here. Today is Gregorian calendar day, May 12th, Gregorian calendar count year 2024, paradigm holiday, Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all of you mothers out there, and happy Mother's Day to all of you who have mothers. So, it's been a while since I made one of these videos. A lot has happened since then. The last time I was making videos, it was the lead up to the first of the River and Star ceremonies on the eclipse. And since then, we've done a second River and Star ceremony on May 1st. And those were very meaningful experiences. Now, the reason why it has been so long since I've made a video, why there hasn't been an update, is some really kind of strange things occurred since or immediately after the first of the River and Star ceremony. And I didn't know what to do with that information. Like, I wanted to make a video, I want to talk about it on a certain level because, you know, obviously I enjoy doing this. I wouldn't be doing it unless, you know, I got some sort of feedback from it. But the nature of the information, the stuff that happened, I wasn't really certain if it was appropriate for me to share. It's dark, macabre. I had found myself, me and cohorts had found ourselves in this really strange situation, which in like experiential reality, we were seemingly bumped up against like the darkest part of the paradigm. Like MK Ultra training centers, maybe like satanic rings, human trafficking, like all of this sort of stuff. And it was synchromistic, you know, in terms of how it came about. And it was really just wild. And I'd been sitting on this information for, I guess it's been about 5 weeks. And yesterday I finally decided that I'm gonna make a video. Actually, no, probably about a week ago I decided I'm definitely gonna make the video. And yesterday I recorded it, and then I shared it with a few other people. And I'm apprehensive about wide-scale release, like just putting it out there on YouTube. Mainly because, you know, I'm kind of like naming names. I'm like identifying some real places and some real people connected to, you know, the biggest names in pop culture right now, and this discovered in like the most unlikely of locations. My apprehension is, suppose I'm wrong about all of the things I'm suggesting. You know, it certainly doesn't seem that way. You know, then I just kind of, you know, maybe not so much libel, but really indicated a human being of being involved with something which maybe they're not involved with, and, you know, that's very gossipy, and I don't necessarily want to participate in that. But then the other hand is, suppose I'm right about it. And then I'm asking myself, is this really a hornet's nest I want to start poking around with? What I'm going to do today is I'm going to show a little bit of the video. I'm going to show about 20 minutes of it, something which I can talk about, which I don't feel concerned about, because I want to share a little bit of it. And so we're going to start with that. And then I'll go into maybe some lighter, stranger sort of stories, and then talk to you about some other sort of updates. Before I do that, though, let me go in and show you, just talk a little bit about the River and Star ceremony. This here is a picture from the April 8th eclipse kickoff. Maybe about 25 people showed up. People came from all over. It was immensely gratifying and satisfying to meet people face to face, to see whom this sort of project and information resonates with. And here you can see some more pictures where, like, this is right at the confluence of the great confluence of the Susquehanna River. This here is the Susquehanna River water. These are the cups we use. This is the starboard. This is what the sky looked like at the time. And the video which I made, not only is it just like talking about the event, which are the discovery which was made shortly after this River and Star ceremony, but the bigger picture in the video is the correspondence between these River and Star ceremonies and seemingly, the dark underbelly of our paradigm, because all of these locations are turning out to be intimately connected with, the dark web of interconnectedness of more or less trauma-based mind control locations. So I'm just gonna kind of leave it at that and switch over to the video which I recorded. So you're probably going to hear a change in the quality of the audio. I'm doing a recording of a recording, so we'll see how it goes. Originally, the information I'm going to share with you, I didn't even want to go and share this. I didn't want to turn this into conspiratainment. I didn't want to kick a hornet's nest. But then something really unusual happened, which kind of acted as an impetus for me to share what I'm about to share with you. So we're gonna build up to it. So this is Sunbury, PA. This is where that event, where the River and Stars ceremony took place. And when it took place, Christy and I were house sitting right around here in a small town in Pennsylvania called Hamburg, Pennsylvania. And this is the second time that we've house sat in this particular house. And there was seemingly a randomness with us getting there. Like most house sitting gigs, if you will, they come through an online platform, and we house sat at this place in January of this year, and then we were invited back to be there in April, and it worked out really well because it put us close to Sunbury, and when we knew we were going to go and do the River and Stars ceremony, that was going to start there. And so serendipitously, if you will, for whatever reason, we were brought back to Hamburg. And I talked about this before in earlier videos from the first time that we were in Hamburg, and it was just the strangeness that in Hamburg, and also this tiny little town in Pennsylvania, also was home to Dale Graff. This is an article here, Hamburg Bergsman makes unique connection with Hamburg, Germany. This was written by Dale Graff, and here it says right there, Dale Graff, and there's Dale Graff right there. So this is from this article. I'm just gonna, I'll read it. Hamburg area resident Dale Graff has a unique connection with Max and Laura Muller, residents of Hamburg, Germany. Although their Hamburg towns are separated by 4,000 miles, they perform similar independent investigations into a subset of science referred to as parapsychology or psi research. They had no direct contact until meeting at a recent conference of the International Remote Viewing Association in Las Vegas, Nevada. Max and Laura were there to receive an award for completing an innovative research project sponsored by IRVA that demonstrated the reality of precognition based on events determined randomly in the future. Their research project was selected by a scientific review panel as the best of several proposals submitted to Dale in his role as the IRVA director and chairman of the Research and Awards Committee. So this International Remote Viewing Association the director of it is this guy, Dale Graff. And so he lives in Hamburg. He lives in Hamburg, the same place where we are right here. We'll go a little bit deeper into it, and where it says, it's talking about Max right now. He began researching the phenomenon when he learned of the Psi investigation sponsored by the U.S. Department of Defense in the Defense Intelligence Agency under the code name Stargate. When employed by the Defense Intelligence Agency, Dale created the name Stargate and was one of its directors. So this guy, Dale right here, was the director of Project Stargate, which was the Defense Intelligence Agency's notorious program. Probably many of you are familiar with Project Stargate. Stargate Project was a secret U.S. Army unit established in 1978 at Fort Meade, Maryland by the Defense Intelligence Agency. This is a very, very, slightly off-centered, but still mainstream story. Movies have been made about it. The Men Who Stare at Goats, a George Clooney film, is all about Project Stargate. Stranger Things, the Netflix series, is based upon Project Stargate. And it's strange because they're saying that Stargate is primarily a remote viewing operation where people who are psychics are able to use their psychic abilities to project their awareness and consciousness into other locations. And this ability was supposedly used by the government in the military for top secret spying. I personally, I don't buy the story. Not necessarily that I don't buy in remote viewing, I don't know. But if this is this top secret story, just the way it is released to the public, it's given to the public, anything, the very definition of what a lot of these intelligence agencies' purposes is, which is to mold and influence the perception from behind the scenes of the collective consciousness. When a story like this is released, this is seemingly part of it, whether it's a limited hangout or a total red herring or just a total psyop. I mean, this is my general opinion, that Project Stargate, what we're being told of it, is probably not the full story, if it's a story at all. But this guy, Dale Graff, he was the project director. He's the project director, and he even came up with the name. Here's a book by him, Tracks in the Psychic Wilderness, an exploration of remote viewing, ESP, precognitive dreaming and synchronicity. The former director of the U.S. government's Project Stargate discusses parapsychological phenomena. This is Dale Graff. This came out in 1998. This article here came out in 2021. And you go and you look here. This is Hamburg, the town of Hamburg. That's where this is located. This is the Chamber of Commerce's website. And they got Dale Graff, PSI seminars. Dale Graff, facilitator and author, physicist, former director of Project Stargate. He's doing these seminars. Here he is listed on the International Association for the Study of Dreams, and his address and his phone number right there. this just doesn't add up to me. I mean, if this is real, right? If this guy is like an insider's insider, if he is a director of this top secret, like, intelligence sort of organization and later points of his career, like, why is he putting his telephone number? Why is he putting his address out there? Like, it doesn't seem to make sense on the surface. Like, it would make sense with more data. Like, possibly, like, the guy is, like, hungry for attention and, he wants to be well known. Maybe that's it, or maybe there's something else. I don't know. But this is what's out there. And because he puts this out, out there, like, because this is already put out there on the internet, I don't feel like I'm doing any sort of, revealing secret information. I'm not, telling anything which hasn't already been put out there. So let's go look on the map. This is 230 St. Michael's Road. That's where this address is. And right here, this is a screenshot from my phone. This is a text between me and Christy, and this is the address of the house sitting gig which we did in Hamburg. And so here you see April 1st. This is, it's not an April Fool's joke, but it's funny that April 1 is the day. But this is where you can go and see, like, this is the address where we stayed. So I took out this number. I'm hiding this number so there's some sort of anonymity for the people whose house we sat at. And we can see this is where 230 St. Michael's Road is, where Dale Graff lives. And then this right here, this is Lesher Mill Road. This is where we stayed. And if you actually look closely, it's the same actual road. St. Michael's Road changes names once it crosses this road. St. Michael's Road is Lesher Mills Road, and we're less than 1.5 miles away from each other. This is strange to me. This is odd. This captured my awareness. Like, why is this going on? And just to give you a point of reference, like, this is where Hamburg is. Here's New York. This is Philadelphia. Here's Baltimore, D.C. This is Harrisburg, the capital of Pennsylvania. Here's Allentown. It's kind of right in the middle here. It's in the middle of nowhere. This right here is a picture. This intersection is this intersection right here. If you look closely, it says St. Michael's Road. That's what that is right here. This is a rural area. This is not a high concentration area. Here is the 400 block of St. Michael's Road. You can see it is still pretty remote. The street view capability on Google Earth, which is where this is from, ends on the 400 block. You can't do street view in front of 230 St. Michael's Road, but this shot right here is from Google Earth as well. You can see this is the house. This is the house of Dale Graff. So obviously this is visible, or this imagery, this has been taken from the Google Earth car cameras that gather all of the information, but then they blocked it out. Like, they stopped it at the 400 block. So to me, that's a little bit strange. I drove by the house. The house seems to be vacant. When I drove by, at least, all of the shades were drawn. The yard, it was in winter. The yard seemed to be seemingly kept, but it was vacant, It doesn't seem to make sense to me that, it just doesn't add up. Okay, so we're going somewhere with this. So we're going to switch gears, though, a little bit. So on February 28th of this year, I had this. These are all screenshots also from my phone, my text conversations. And there's a woman who follows Susquehannaalchemy, and I talk a lot about the house sitting which Christy and I have been doing. And she reached out. She's like, "Hey, I'm a fan of your work and I want to support you, and I might be in the need of house sitting, and maybe we can meet. And not only do I need house sitting, I actually live in Marietta, Pennsylvania. Now, Marietta, Pennsylvania is where the whole Susquehanna mystery began. And so you could see she reached out February 28th. We were supposed to get together on the 28th to meet face to face, but as you can see from this message, that did not happen. But I said, hey, let's stay in touch, and if you're traveling or if you have a need for house sitter, reach out and we can see what we can do. So then fast forward to last Saturday, we met face to face because we are going to do some house sitting for her. And so we went to the house, and this is that message. This is from her. Good afternoon. Just want to confirm your schedule. We're going to meet on at her home on on Sunday, the next day at 3 p.m. And she lives in Marietta Avenue. So this is kind of like the receipts of all of these sort of conversations. And so then the following, this was on Monday. And so I wrote back, I'm like, it was great to finally meet you face to face. I have a quick question for you. What was the name of the artist whose sketches are framed throughout your home? Also, can you send me a picture of the St. Michael's Church sketch? So what happened was we met face to face. We got a tour of the home. We met the animals, so forth. And while in the home, beautiful home built in the 1800s, I noticed that there were some framed pictures of some sketches which I learned were done by a local artist of some note, and it was a watercolor artist. But prior to doing any of the watercolor paintings, the artist would first sketch the subject, and her subject was typically historical buildings, churches. And so this right here is what I asked for a picture of, and it is St. Michael's Church, and it says right here near Lenhartsville. I think that's what it is. So Lenhartsville right there. So it's St. Michael's Church near Lenhartsville, which is actually right by Hamburg. And actually, St. Michael's Church is in Hamburg. So this is St. Michael's Church. It's in Hamburg. This is what it looks like. And you can see side by side, it's the same thing. You can see the steeple and, this gabled end right here. This lines up. This drawing, which I'm not certain when it was done, probably in the 1950s, this drawing was done prior to the building of this addition. But where this gets really interesting is this is where St. Michael's Church is. St. Michael's Church is, on this really, really pinpoint location between me and the supposed director of Project Stargate's house. This is where St. Michael's Church is. And yeah, there's the Michael connection, Michael being my name, but then also, this woman who seemingly reaches out to me. She's got no idea where we're staying. She has no idea about the Hamburg house. But even if she did, how the hell did she get this picture of St. Michael's Church? All of these things, it's just where is this coming from? When I say, where is this coming from? I'm rhetorical with that. And I was curious. I'm like, what are the odds? What is the distance? So this is where we were staying right here. And this is Marietta, Pennsylvania. And I drew this distance line right here. This is the house where we stayed, the literal house where we stayed. This is the property. And this end point is on the far corner of the property. And then right here is the other end point on this line. And this house is the house where the St. Michael's Church is. It's placed right on the house, so property to property. And it is exactly 40 miles 40.00 miles, which is like, wow, that's a round number. It's 40 number. That's even more wild. But it gets even weirder when you remember the Susquehanna mystery begins with the number 40, with the investigation of the John Smith map of Virginia and this reversed 40, this mirrored 40 for the 40th parallel. And the reason why this was so interesting was because this marked a location, the 40th parallel and the Susquehanna River. This is a map from 1607. This is the Chesapeake Bay, and this is the Susquehanna River right here. And it's marking a location, the 40th parallel and the Susquehanna River. That's the beginnings of the Susquehanna mystery. This right here is Marietta, right? This woman is the Marietta, Pennsylvania house sit, exactly 40 miles apart from where she's got the the drawing of the St. Michael's Church from where I was staying, right next to the St. Michael's Church, right? I've got this marker right here on Google Earth. This is Marietta, this is the Susquehanna River, and it's 40 degrees, 0.05. It's not 40.00, but it's pretty close. I can't really make sense of this other than, we're working at a level of some reality deeper than a logic, deeper than, the actual experience than that I'm living, that the story I'm telling. There's a greater order which has shown itself through this supposedly random synchronistic event. So we're going to pivot for a moment right now. So after having the awareness and the experience of this St. Michael's Church connection, I decided that what I'm about to tell you, what I'm about to share, which I wasn't really going to share publicly for a variety of reasons, I'm like, okay, I need to share it. And once I came to that realization, I started doing a little bit more research, and I found this article on Substack. It's the author is Matthew Crawford, and his newsletter is called Rounding the Earth Newsletter. I'd never heard of Michael Crawford before. He's seemingly he's really well known, I guess. He's got 34,000 followers on Substack, which I would imagine is a really big number. And he wrote this article. It says, a summary of the remote viewing program, aka Project Stargate. So remember, we're talking, part of what we're dealing with is Project Stargate, whatever Project Stargate may be. There's so much written about Project Stargate, but for the most part, what I've seen about Project Stargate, all right, we're back here. As you can, that's just like the tip of the iceberg right there. And that one piece of the video, it's a 2-hour video. It was interesting and I felt comfortable sharing it right now. And if you read the screen of what I was about to get into on that article, you could see that, I was running off of that author's premise of Project Stargate and MK Ultra and all of the different trauma-based mind control experimentation being connected and kind of built upon this, the home, which seemed like a safe house to me, of the supposed former director of Project Stargate, and then how it correlated to this other location, which was, maybe about less than 10 miles away from that house, in the same vicinity, seemingly the same, maybe the same interconnected campus. And that's kind of where I went with that video. And then going on and looking at all of these other locations in which the River and Stars ceremony was going to take place, or is going to take place, and seeing how each of these locations continues to connect in physical proximity to seemingly other important locations within the Stargate remote viewing continuum. So anyway, I shared the video with a couple of people, just, those who are like close in my inner circle, and just wanted to hear what they had to think. I'm not certain what I'm going to do. I'm definitely not at any point right now going to go and share it publicly on YouTube. For those of you who are interested, it's a 2-hour video. I think I did about 100 slides, because it is deep, and it is like, in order to kind of justify the, I say this like a little tongue-in-cheek, outrageous sort of things which I'm suggesting, like I need to give a lot of detail. And so there's about 100 slides. If you're interested, you can send me an email. And I can send you maybe I have it on a private setting on YouTube right now, that video, and I can send you that link. Send me a tip. Make it worth my while. I'll share it. And maybe one day I'm going to put it all out for free. I don't know, but this is where I'm sitting right now. That said, there's some other things which I do want to share, which is probably a little bit lighter, but I'm thinking it's kind of connected to all of this sort of strangeness. So let me go and switch gears a little bit right now, pivot, and we'll go and tell this interesting part of our journey. So maybe a handful of weeks ago, I was looking for a podcast. I once when I was a guest on a podcast. I don't keep good records of that, and I was trying to do a search to see if I could find it online. So I searched my name, and I searched some of the key points, data points, which would probably connect with that podcast. And when I got the results on Google, what was on the top of the list was this LinkedIn profile for this other Michael Wan. Obviously there are other Michael Wans who are out there. So I went and I looked at it, and what immediately caught my attention was this guy is, he works or is associated with the Stanford Human Perception Lab, which is, that's a red flag, or a loud beacon for me for an organization which is involved with all sorts of weirdness. Human Perception, Stanford. So I went and I started looking a little bit deeper. Let's see right here. This is that guy's, his resume. Here he is. He is Media Games Interaction Research Lead, Stanford Human Perception Lab. Before that, he was involved with Super League Gaming. He was the Chief Strategy Officer. And then prior to that, he was the CEO of something called Mob Crush, excuse me. So let's go look right here. This is Super League Gaming. Make this big so I can read it. Here's a description. Super League Enterprises. They've since switched their names. Is a strategically integrated publisher and creator of games and experiences across immersive digital platforms. The company provides its customers with a complete range of development, distribution, monetization, and optimization capabilities that are designed to engage users with dynamic and energized programs. SLE utilizes its publishing engine technology for the immersive web in order to help brands change their .com experiences. I have no idea what that even means, but it sounds just like all the sort of stuff which Alison McDowell goes and researches. This is, all right, so I'm just going to keep going with this. So Human Perception Lab. Everything, the Stanford University Human Perception Lab. Keep in mind, I'm just coming from all of this research into Project Stargate and Project Stargate from, you know, the history which is provided of it. It begins with SRI, Stanford Research, the Stanford Research, what does I stand for? I don't know what that is, but that's just by name, like Stanford Research and the secret technological military contractor. Like this is like the top boogeyman, if you will, in that space. So Human Perception Lab, Stanford University, everything we do, we believe in improving the human condition. We use a multidisciplinary approach, leveraging the brightest minds across academia and industry. We develop tools, technologies, and applications inspired by humans for humanity. We transform research and knowledge into marketable products and companies. What? That means nothing. We are a collective of academics, entrepreneurs, and innovators driven to building human intelligent AI via an embodied approach. It's part of Stanford Medicine. It's the Human Perception Lab, bridging human and machine, building human intelligent AI by modeling the brain and human behavior. The core approach is to reverse engineer the brain via the human senses, perception, intent, and action. Here's some other information I could find on it. Dr. Kaderi and HPL team, so the Human Perception League team, with the World Health Organization, discussing the future of human intelligent technologies. This right here is from the Stanford Human Perception Lab, distinguished collaborators. We see this guy right here, Eason Jordan. Eason Jordan is also the senior vice president at the Rockefeller Foundation. So, other than what I just showed you, which is on the Stanford, on the actual website of the Human Perception Lab, there's absolutely nothing else about this organization. There's nothing else about this organization. I don't know what it is. It just seems like it's, what is this? It's a cover of something. It's a reflection of something. We know it's AI oriented. It's I don't know. So let's go a little bit deeper before I go to kind of my conclusion, or at least where I met this. Because the reason I'm looking at this is because there's this guy there. There's this guy there who shares my friggin' name. Like, obviously, it's not, it doesn't look like me, but we got this guy here. And so I go and look a little bit deeper on the same guy, this mkwann. He builds the world's most attainable net zero home. This is in something called Connected Design. California net zero carbon homes features savant controls, first Beco healthy kitchens, and eco-friendly residents built for Super League gaming exec Michael Wan's family will double as wellness and sustainable. Smart, efficient technologies. Here's, this is another, this is like a PR release from this Beco Home Appliances. And it says, as Chief Strategy Officer for Super League Gaming, Michael Wan spends his days building games and open world gaming platforms that empower game developers, players, and fans to rock the metaverse. So I don't know if I've ever told you this, or maybe I've made reference to this in past videos or podcasts, but from the years 2002 to 2004, I think it was, I was living in the Washington, D.C. area. Right after 2001, I left working. I was the I was a product manager for web hosting for a Fortune 100 company called Cable and Wireless. They're a UK-based company. And I was a product manager, and I left that world right after 9/11. I was in the DC area, and I was looking to, change the direction in which my life was going. I was probably around 30 years old at the time. And I went to work for an architect in the DC area, and small little design architecture firm, which was primarily focused on remodeling of like historic buildings and, high-end kitchen and bath design. This was the company I worked for. It was Absolute Kitchens. Here they are right here. Tyson's Corner, Virginia, Absolute Kitchens. We would do stuff like this. And for 2 years, I worked as a kitchen designer for Absolute Kitchens. Years founded, 1995. Number of employees. I was one of those employees. We're designers and suppliers of custom-made cabinetry for kitchens, bathrooms, libraries, and home offices, closets, entertainment, bars. Absolute Kitchen serves Vienna, McLean, Tysons, Great Falls, Arlington, Alexandria, blah, 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 DC and Georgetown areas. So when I first saw this thing about, Michael Wan in this human perception lab, my thought is this human perception lab, isn't real. For whatever reason, I've been there's a big to-do back in 2012, 2013, how the Pentagon had created a simulation database of every human being on Earth based upon maybe their online profile, there's a general understanding of every human being based upon their search histories and their purchases on Amazon and so forth. And then some sort of quantum computer puts all of these profiles of all the humanity, and the Department of Defense was running all sorts of simulations and war gaming to see what would happen, how would the world respond based upon certain events. And that always struck me as interesting, particularly this nature of what is this experience? What is this reality? What is this reality? Is this simulation? Is this an augmented reality? Is this a dream? Is this is this what the religions teach us? I don't know. I don't know what those answers are, but when I see something like this Stanford Human Perception Lab, and I see there's this Michael Wan, and then it goes even deeper that this Michael Wan who studies the very things that I'm interested in. I'm interested in the nature of reality, and almost like a gaming. I made a lot of videos probably in 2020 about LARPing, live action role playing, and the nature of reality based upon a lot of these artificial storytelling. And I go and I see this Michael Wan, so I see the Human Perception Lab, and that plays into that. I'm is this real? And is this another version of me? Is this the AI version of me if I wasn't creating these videos, and I actually was working on the research end of of the nature of reality, as opposed to going through life, experiencing reality and telling the stories. Am I what I'm thinking of is me? Am I the AI, right? Is that the real Michael Wan and I'm a reflection of it? I'm not taking that too seriously, too literally, but it captured my attention. So let's go level deeper with it. So Michael Wan says he lives in Santa Monica, California. Now, if you recall, a video which I made last year was all about Santa Monica, California, specifically when I took a cross-country trip, and I talked about Southland Tales and Forrest Gump, and specifically when I found myself at the Santa Monica Pier on July 4th, and how that corresponded with this movie Southland Tales, which is all about, quantum physics and quantum mechanics, and more specifically how in Santa Monica the main character on the Santa Monica Pier had like a rip in the time-space continuum, and there became this second version, like somehow they were able to take different parallel universes and two versions of the same character appear on Santa Monica Pier. I mean, that's the whole, or part of the quantum entanglement nature of Southland Tales. Like, I literally told that story in a video I put out last year. So when I go and I see this Michael Wan in Santa Monica, who's a kitchen designer who plays with the same thing, I'm like, all right, what is this? So what I decided to do, so I go and I send this guy, I send him an email message. Like, the only way I can get in touch with him is through LinkedIn. That's where I found him. And interestingly enough, like way back when, probably like 15 years ago, I had to make a LinkedIn account for when I used to be a market research professional in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. This is me right here. And so I sent him a message. I sent him a long message. I think it was titled, "The most strange and thought-provoking and poetically fun message you receive all day." And I had a very fun tonality in the language of the message, but I basically said, all right, Michael Wan, if you're a real person, let me go and tell you something which is kind of crazy. How did I begin this letter? This could be the most strange and thought-provoking and poetically fun message you receive all day, if not all year. Allow me to introduce myself. Hello, I too am Michael Wan. What are the odds of two people sharing the same uncommon name? 1 in 10,000? A million? Who knows? And so then I just go in and I tell, I basically outline what I just told to you guys right here. I haven't heard back from him since then, but if I do, I'll keep you guys all in the loop. But then this also ties in, with the whole thing with, as I'm recording this message, I am in the house, or recording this video, I am literally in the house in Marietta, Pennsylvania, which I made reference to in that video, which I showed you the clip for. It's just getting strange. It's getting really, really, really strange. I'm getting ready to go on a podcast. It's called, I think it's called The Path to Freedom, Alex Zek. And that is going to be, I'm going to be on that, I think, in 3 days. I'm excited for that. I'm not really certain what we're going to talk about, but it seems like there is a new direction, or where this story for me is going is beginning to change. Likewise, I've had, I'm not going to give you the details yet, but it seems like I might be settling down at a certain location, and I'll probably be able to get a little bit of grounding after this past 9 months of living like a professional drifter, if you will. Lastly, the third thing I want to share with you is one of the ways in which I could bring in income and share with you some of products and services which I use or support. And so on Linktree, I created this thing called susquehannaalchemy. You know, there's all of these affiliate programs that are out there, and for the most part, I've never wanted to be involved with those, but you know, maybe this could be a nice way which people can support the work, which also supports other like-minded places. So I'll include this link. And so there are a handful of products and services that which I have an affiliate relationship, which means like if you buy from right here, I get like I get a handful of dollars. The first thing is this these books, Revival of Wisdom. Revival of Wisdom is a I saw them on Instagram. I like their videos, and real big, like maybe like 1 million followers. And in their videos, they're always showing scenes from or screenshots from the different books which they sell. When I say they, I don't even know who or what it is. And I purchased the PDF, the online book, and it's good. I don't agree with everything in it. It's 115 pages. There are a couple things which don't make sense, but for the most, to me, for my understanding of reality, but for the most part, 80% of it, like, it's phenomenal, and it's very, like, it's light on text, heavy on visual images, and it is a great connection of like electromagnetism, understanding energy, the human experience, conspiracy. There's some astrology in there. I'm not really in alignment with all that is said about how they deal with astrology. However, they talk a lot about the sacred secretion or the chrism. And I think there's some great information on that, and then how it ties to the body. Anyway, it's a really good book, particularly this one right here. It's called The Book of Wisdom. These other two books, which are going to be listed here, I haven't read, so I don't know. But this one I personally have. So if anyone is interested, I'd recommend go and take a look at that. I think it's $35, and I get like $15 of that if someone purchases that. And then right here, I also have an affiliate agreement with, I don't know if you've ever heard of the Deep State Mapping Project. And this is a real controversial sort of the guy behind it. I think his name is Dylan. He also has an affiliate program. He makes these visual maps. I think he's like at least on his bio, it says that he was like a professional designer working for like, I forget whom, but top brands in like Italy and France, like really, really high end sort of like fashion brands. He was a designer, I think mostly of bags, which speaks to me because I make a lot of bags by hand. Likewise, not everything with the Deep State Mapping Project I'm in alignment with personally. It's very heavy with like there's a political bent to it, and a very strong QAnon sort of thing, which really isn't my cup of tea. But built within it are these amazing these maps. Like here are 3 of them right here. And you can purchase these maps, like the physical maps. A friend of mine I saw had one framed at his house, and I've known about these maps for years. And it's like the map of the cult of Baal, the map of like natural healing versus like pharmaceutical healing, like phenomenal things to put up in your house. Spot on with the research. This guy has done his research. It's great conversation pieces, visually appealing. And so, I get a little cut of the action. I think that his posters sell for like $35 or $40. I get a little bit of money from that. If you're interested in those, definitely go and order from them. This right here is fascinating. Vibemedic Shilajit. I don't know if anyone here takes Shilajit. Shilajit is an Ayurvedic supplement. It is a concentrated version of the like the the black goo that grows up in the that forms naturally over thousands and thousands of years in the crevices and the caves high up in the Himalayas. And I have a good friend, a personal friend of mine, owns this VibeMedX company. He is a major importer of Shilajit. I stay at his house frequently, and he's been a longtime supporter of Susquehannaalchemy. He literally brings in kilos. Like, I'm at his house, and there are these large boxes, these shipments that come in, packages that come in weekly from Kazakhstan, and it's Shilajit. And then the majority of his business is like he sells in bulk to other people who in America who don't necessarily have those connections, and they buy in bulk their Shilajit from him. Anyway, he's got an affiliate program. This is his Shilajit brand. So if Shilajit is something you're interested in, I know in Instagram, in the feeds which go on my Instagram, I always see there's all sorts of claims on Shilajit. I take it somewhat regularly. Mostly when I'm at Ron's house, I'll always take his Shilajit. But if that is something you're interested in, you can try it here. Because this is a physical product, I probably make the smallest amount of referral money, but there's that. And then lastly, I set this up years ago, and I really haven't done much with it since then. There are on Threadless, which is a third-party printer. They print and sell products. So t-shirts and original art. This here is all original art of mine on print form. If you're interested, definitely go, and you can support me along by purchasing any of these sort of things. So all of this is available at on my Linktree. So I've got a primary Linktree, which I keep listed in the I keep it in the text of these videos, and then from that link tree you could go to the susquehannaalchemy mall. And if any of this stuff interests you, and if you want to support me, that would be a great way to do it. Other ways of supporting, you could be Starboard sessions, supporting the GoFundMe with the River and Stars, and then also, if you're interested in watching that video, just send me an email. Anyway, my friends, hope everyone is well, and until the next time, this is mkwann, and I am signing out.